Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to My Spouse is My Best Friend. I'm your co-host, Nicole.
And I'm Dr. Jason Green.
And today we want to talk about lessons that we wish that we knew before entering into this season of marriage. And so, as you all know, we're in our second marriage. We've been blending families. We've worked on communication. We've worked on financing. And we have started over with a clean slate on making this marriage work and making this unity work. And so we want to talk to you guys today about some of the life lessons that we've learned along the way.
Yeah, so we're gonna go over about 5 things that we learned. We're like, hey, I wish we would have known before. So one, we know that love is real, right?
Mm-hmm.
Love is real, and that's what brings you together, whatnot. But so are the triggers, that come from other marriages and baggage that you bring from other relationships and whatnot. So those triggers you have to address up front, right?
You do.
I think we have conversations when some of our counseling sessions, and we notice that some spouses and some in the relationship that there's certain triggers that may have come from a different relationship. Like they might have been abused, they might have been physically or even emotionally abused, or there might have been something that past relationship or person did that might bring that forward. So you want to talk about those triggers before getting in a relationship.
Absolutely. So for me, one of my triggers is a song. So there's a song that if I hear it playing, if I hear it come on, I immediately turn it off. And I remember when we were together, we were in the car and that song came on and it triggered a bad memory for me from one of my previous relationships. And I was like, hey, this song triggers and this is why. Some movements, it's a trigger. And so I had to tell him when we were building our foundation, certain words, certain songs, certain sites are triggers for me that I worked through going through therapy, but just wanted to let him know. So then, if it happens, then he's understanding why I'm reacting the way I am.
And it's not bringing baggage into the relationship. It's just saying, hey, I'm not trying to, but I understand my triggers. Mm-hmm. And so I want to let you know that if I do get triggered, this is why. Right. And so it's not, bringing the baggage in, but it's just that, setting expectations and kind of setting. So I had to understand that because when, I played the song, I was like, I'm jamming. She's like, turn this off. I'm like, what? Huh?
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't understand. So she had to tell me, the backstory, but there are going to be triggers. And like I said, I wouldn't count it as baggage, but I would just count it as, communicating to the one that you're going to be with.
Yeah, because it's all part of your healing process, right? And being self-aware of those triggers and things that's going on, that helps. And then again, if you're on the opposite end or the receiving end and you don't understand, that's your time to give grace. So you might not understand it, but let's let that empathy come out along with your grace.
Yeah. And then as we spoke, we're a blended family too. So, blended family doesn't mean just blending children, right? Mm-hmm. Blended family is blending two families that came together, maybe from a second marriage or whatnot. Maybe one spouse has children and the other one doesn't, but it's blending, families together. And so we have to remember that children adjust at different rates, mm-hmm. right? So if you have more than one kid, which we did,
right?
She had 3, I had 1, so I had 3 personalities to blend with. And each one of them, I had to be patient with, right? There were certain ones that came around or bonded at different rates because they all have different personalities, they all have different feelings, they have different loyalties, right? To the other parent. Mm-hmm. So I had to be patient in those areas.
Yeah. And so what we found that helped us is just the unity between he and I, because they will try to test you. And so we made sure that we stayed on a united front, that we went into this as a couple, our backs was towards each other. And we made sure that we raised them as one. And so, as you heard us say, that we don't do steps, they're our children. You know, his biological is my child, my biological is his children, and we set the precedence for our family. And so we let our family know that we're not steps, we are a family.
Yeah, and be intentional, and make sure that you're choosing your spouse daily, because, like she said, they'll try you. They'll definitely try you, and they'll test the loyalty boundaries, and they'll probably express that too. I'm your child, but in the forefront, we know that our covenant is stronger than anything else, and I know where my what biblically what it says. This is my church, right? And I choose her first. There's God, my wife, and then the kids, no matter who they are. No matter if I was with if I married her and my child was 13 years old, you have to make that decision. So intentionally choose your spouse daily in those situations.
Yeah. And so conflict will arise, emotions will be high, but remember that, it's going to be okay. You're going to make it on the other side. And so when the assumptions arise and when the tone gets louder, or they're teenagers, they just go silent. They just stay in the room and don't say anything.
Remember, they're just little crumb snatchers. I mean, parenting is a thankless job, and you don't get to reap the benefits until like they 20 something. They feel like, oh, that's what they were talking about. They come to realization, but up until then, they're just little crumb snatchers. So I mean, choose your spouse.
Yes. And so again, when those emotions are running high, I think the first thing we do is pray, mainly for their safety. Because we don't want to react too quickly, right? And we don't want to try to repair something that we probably don't even know the whole ins and outs of what's going on. And so we want to make sure that they do have a time to express their feelings clearly. And then we listen without being definitive. But at the end of the day, they had to listen to us too. And so we listen to them, they listen to us, we pray, and then we make it through. And then we all still alive at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. So that's blended families. The other one, communication and emotional safety boundaries. Kind of everybody reacts differently as far as tone goes, as far as silence goes, but making assumptions, right?
Right.
So you have to set those expectations up front. So I wish we would have known or communicated I guess it goes back to the triggers thing. Sometimes she'll be like, hey, your tone is it's not what you said, it's your tone.
Yeah.
Or you're making assumptions with her. Sometimes she'll make assumptions without asking me. And I'll be like, hey, that's not what I meant. And we've learned over time to communicate that with each other as far as, if I don't understand something or she don't understand something, before making assumptions, she'll say, well, hey, this is what I received. And I'll say, well, no, that's not what I was trying to communicate. And sometimes it's just nothing. So I wish we would have got that a little earlier.
True. Less arguments.
Less arguments in the very beginning. And then tone. So I have a habit of not realizing my tone sometimes. And sometimes that, she'll have to be like, hey, your tone, it's not what you're saying, it's your tone. And I have to check myself. And that's okay. Or even silence, right?
Yeah.
That was mine too.
Yeah.
Where I just be quiet and I just won't say anything. I won't respond. And she wants me to respond to say, I understand or whatnot. Because I'll hear something, and if there's not a question mark at the end of that sentence, I might be like, oh, okay, I got it in my head. Okay, I got it. And I don't think it needs a response, but I know she needs a response to say, hey, I heard you or I received you.
We got to close off that cycle of communication. So, but we got that down. And so through all the emotions and the tones and the silence, we create a safe space, right? And so you heard us talk about our wind down Wednesday, where I can approach him, he can approach me, or our checkpoints throughout the day. Are you okay? Do you need anything? because we've created that safe space for each other. And so I know that I could, if something happens and I'm upset, that I can come to him. He's the same way. But if you're not creating that safe space, then why would your spouse come to you? Because if I come to you and I don't feel safe, I know our argument is looming.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So on to finances and boundaries. That really matters.
Yeah, it does matter. I mean, we always talk about that finances and communications are the number one reasons for divorce. And then before getting into your marriage, it's very important to make sure that you are setting those boundaries and explaining, what do you bring into the marriage? And I'm not saying bring into the marriage as far as love and all that. I'm talking about debt, child support, assets. I mean, you have to think about that, right? Because you don't want no surprises. And you're giving that person a chance to say, hey, I accept this. Hey, I got $200,000 worth of debt. I got a baby mama that I'm paying $10,000 a year to. I have a car note, whatnot, and what it is. But you're giving that person a chance to say, hey, okay, I understand. This is what I have as well. Because when you come together, you're taking the onus. You're one flesh. You're bringing all that together and you're tackling it together. And so that's a discussion that you really need to have before coming before God and creating that covenant, so that there are no surprises. You give the other person a choice to say, hey, I accept your debt and your baggage
and your 400 credit score
or and whatever the credit, or I don't. That's not for me. I mean, but still, so when you get into marriage, there's not, well, you brought this into the marriage. No, we all agreed. And we said, hey, we're going to tackle this together.
Yeah. And remember, Psalms 24:1 talks about how everything belongs to God anyway, right? And so we are just stewarding the resources that he provided for us. So when you're saying my money, it's really not your money, it's God's money.
Anyways, yeah.
And then going back to, again, being transparent, because guys, especially for you guys that are single, that you're newly engaged, when you marry that person, you're marrying their credit score, you're marrying their debt, you're marrying their income, you're marrying everything regarding their finances. And so you want to be transparent both ways, because you both don't want to be a spender, right? And so most relationships, you have a spender, you have a saver, right? And so if you find out that you both are spenders, well, that's a problem, because your bank account probably low every month.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you want to be transparent, talk about your spending habits, your budget, your saving habits. And then remember, it's not your resources, it's the resources that you are stewarding for God. And so I would encourage you to spend some time, if you have not, about looking at planning and having open communications early in your relationship regarding your budgets and your finances.
Yeah, and what's important? What are your financial goals? Mine might be a boat, hers might be a stove, or something like that. So I mean, come to a. What are your financial goals in the future, or whatnot? Hers might be, hey, I want a new house, and mine might be, I need a new Corvette. So I mean, you have to have those conversations. That's not true, but you need to have those conversations up front.
Yeah. And then the last thing is, every marriage deserves a clean slate, which
Absolutely.
is very, 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 very important. And so, number one, do not fall into the trap or the comparison of what your spouse is doing versus what your ex is doing. Don't do that. There are two different people, two different situations. And so I'm going to say it this time. You don't want to bring your baggage into the marriage. So you want to start off with a clean slate.
Yeah, it's important, because I mean, it's easy to say, but it's hard to do, especially when you have the triggers that we just talked about and whatnot, and especially if you're fresh out of a relationship as well. Especially if you have to see your ex, frequently because you have kids. It's hard to do when you understand that. But you got to remember that the person that you're with now, you're with them for a reason, and they don't deserve that. They don't deserve them being compared to another relationship. And I think everybody knows this, but that we just fail at doing it. Mm-hmm. So we just put emphasis on that. Look at that person and say, hey, you are not my ex. You are somebody else. You have a different personality, and that's why I'm with you. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to treat you different. I'm not going to bring my past into this relationship. Mm-hmm. So I encourage you to do that.
Yes, that's good. And then again, if I'm on the receiving end, I don't want to hear about your ex every 5 minutes. Like, I know you have triggers. I know that there's things that you're working on, but I don't want to hear about what Joe did and what Joe said and what Joe had. So be mindful of as many times as you're talking about Joe.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
So those are the things that, we wish we would have had a better grasp on.
Yep.
Before. We just thought about it. We were like, hey, let's just talk about some of the things we wish we would have knew before we entered our marriage that would have made things easier. So those are our 5 things. Mm-hmm.
So again, don't forget to like and subscribe to this video. Check out our website. It's crawfish season, so don't forget to get your crawfish cutie and crawfish duty shirts on our website at www.myspousemybestfriend.com. And again, don't forget to subscribe to while you're on our website, don't forget to subscribe to our Lovebirds community, where you'll receive a free wristband that says Kingdom Marriage Matters. And then you'll also get deals for specials that we run on the websites as well.
Smash that like and subscribe, like everybody else says. Smash the like and subscribe for us and share. All right.
You're funny.
Bye.
Bye.
Soundstripe.